The metallic corridors of the flagship Eternal Dominion vibrated with the hum of the ship's engines. Alien soldiers moved in precise patterns, their armor glinting under the pale lights of the deck. This was no ordinary day. The fleet was preparing for a mission that could decide the fate of a contested star system. Every piece of equipment, every weapon, and every soldier had to be perfect. In the central hall, the alien queen, Zorinthia, stood tall, her multi-jointed limbs giving her a fearsome silhouette. Her scales shimmered in shades of dark violet and black, and her eyes glowed like molten gold. Around her, her elite soldiers assembled in neat formation, their armor polished to a reflective shine. Zorinthia was inspecting every detail with a critical eye. Nothing could escape her attention. She stepped closer to a young soldier at the front of the line and bent slightly to inspect the armor's chest plate. Her claws tapped against the surface. "Who repaired this armor?" she shouted, her voice echoing through the hall. "Answer me." The room went silent. Alien engineers who had been responsible for the repairs shifted nervously. Some dared not meet her gaze. None spoke. The Queen's glare could cut through steel, or so the legend said. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, a small voice broke the silence. I repaired it, Your Majesty," said a human. The room gasped. A human? In the alien fleet? Humans were rare here. They were respected for their technical skill, but they were often underestimated by the alien race, and standing before the Queen was no small risk. Many had tried to gain favor and failed. Zorinthia's eyes narrowed. She leaned forward, her long neck stretching like a predatory beast preparing to strike. "You? A human? You dare claim responsibility for this?" The human engineer, tall and wiry with a shock of dark hair, remained calm. "Yes, Your Majesty," he said steadily. "I repaired it last night." The Queen let out a low, rumbling hiss. "Do you understand the meaning of honor in this hall, human? You tamper with armor that could save lives, and you claim credit without fear? How do I know your work is not a disgrace?" "I understand, Your Majesty," the human replied. "I will show you. Please let me demonstrate." Zorinthia's tail flicked angrily. "Very well, but if this repair fails, human, you will answer with your life." The human nodded and walked forward. He carried a small, portable device that could scan and project the armor's structural integrity in real time. Alien soldiers whispered among themselves. They had never seen a human work with such confidence. The human placed the device against the chest plate. A holographic projection appeared above it, showing microscopic cracks that had been expertly welded and reinforced. Tiny energy conduits, designed to distribute force evenly, glowed in blue lines along the armor. The Queen's eyes flicked between the projection and the human. "You see, Your Majesty," he explained. "The armor was damaged during the last field exercise. I reinforced the plating using a combination of human alloy bonding techniques and alien energy conduits. It is now stronger than before." Zorinthia leaned closer, studying the projection. She had never seen this method. Human engineering was different, clever, adaptable, and, in her experience, unpredictable, which often meant dangerous. "Show me," she said, her voice sharp. "Show me that this armor can withstand the rigors of battle." The human nodded again. "As you wish, Your Majesty." He pressed a button on his device, and the armor's internal systems powered up. Lights along the plates shimmered, then stabilized. Sensors measured stress points and simulated impacts from high-velocity energy blasts. The holographic display showed the armor holding, absorbing the damage with minimal strain. The Queen's eyes narrowed further. "Interesting," she murmured. "Interesting, human. But simulation is one thing, real battle is another. One failure, and lives are lost." Before the human could answer, alarms blared throughout the ship. Red lights flashed. A message from the command deck came through. Enemy drones approaching. Immediate defensive protocols required. The Queen growled. Then prove it in reality, human. You will repair the armor under battle conditions. Your life and theirs depend on it. Without hesitation, the human sprinted down the corridor, followed closely by a group of elite alien soldiers. He carried tools and portable energy modules, ready to adapt the armor on the fly. The battle erupted outside the ship as enemy drones attacked the fleet. Explosions rocked the hull, and alien soldiers shouted commands in their high-pitched, clicking language. The human moved swiftly, weaving between soldiers, assessing damage, and recalibrating the armor's energy distribution. One soldier cried out as a sudden energy surge threatened to overload his chest plate. The human reacted instantly, connecting a small energy module to the armor. Sparks flew, but the armor stabilized. The soldier looked at him with wide, amazed eyes. The human moved from one soldier to another, repairing and enhancing. The Queen watched from the observation deck, her expression unreadable. Slowly, her suspicion began to shift toward curiosity. She had heard of human cleverness, but seeing it in action, under pressure in real time, was something else entirely. By the end of the skirmish, the enemy drones had retreated, and the fleet's damage was minimal. Soldiers whispered about the human engineer who had saved their lives with quick thinking and precise skill. Some even dared to nod respectfully as he passed. Zorinthia descended from her observation perch, her presence commanding silence. She approached the human, her golden eyes piercing. "You survived," she said, her tone both sharp and measured. "You kept them alive. You adapted when I thought you would fail." The human bowed slightly. "I only did what I was trained to do, Your Majesty, and what I know humans can do." The Queen's claws tapped against the deck thoughtfully. "Humans, I have underestimated you," she admitted softly, almost to herself. "Perhaps I have been wrong. Perhaps there is value in your kind beyond simple servitude." The human straightened. "I am glad my work served the fleet, Your Majesty. That is all I wish for." For the first time, the Queen gave a small, approving nod. It was rare for Zorinthia to show any form of approval, let alone toward a human. Around them, the soldiers began to murmur again, this time with cautious respect. "Prepare a report of your methods," Zorinthia said. "I want this replicated across the fleet. Humans, your ingenuity may yet save us again." The human nodded. "I will, Your Majesty." As the Queen turned to leave, she glanced back at him. "Do not fail me next time, human. The consequences will not be kind." "I understand," he said calmly, hiding the satisfaction he felt behind a professional demeanor. For the first time, the human engineer realized that he had not just repaired armor today, he had begun to change the way an entire alien empire saw humanity. The seeds of respect, carefully planted with skill and courage, had begun to grow, and somewhere deep within the Queen's mind, a new thought began to take shape. Perhaps humans were not just tools or subordinates. They could be allies, even equals. The human returned to his workbench, already preparing for the next challenge. Outside the ship, the stars shone cold and distant, indifferent to the struggles of mortals and aliens alike. But within the corridors of the eternal dominion, a single human had proven that courage, skill, and cleverness could make a difference in a galaxy that had long doubted them. And that difference, he knew, was only the beginning. End of Part 1. The human engineer, Ethan, worked late into the alien night, surrounded by glowing consoles and humming machinery. His hands moved with precise efficiency, repairing, upgrading, and testing armor for the fleet's soldiers. Each piece he touched became stronger, lighter, and more responsive. But despite his skill, Ethan could feel the weight of the Queen's gaze upon him. Her judgment was harsh, her expectations merciless. Across the ship, the alien Queen Zorinthia observed him from her observation deck. She had never liked humans. They were unpredictable, emotional, and fragile compared to her species. Yet today, she had seen one human perform feats of cleverness and calm under pressure that no alien engineer had matched. And still, a part of her resisted admitting respect. The silence of the command center was broken by a sudden alert. "Incoming transmission from the front lines," a young alien officer announced, clicking rapidly on a console. Zorinthia's eyes sharpened. "Show it!" she ordered. The screen lit up, showing a distant battlefield, a rocky, storm-lashed moon where enemy forces had taken position. Alien soldiers clashed with swarms of drones, and explosions flared across the landscape. The enemy was advanced, faster than the Queen had anticipated. "They are outnumbered and outgunned," said one officer, panic creeping into his voice. Zorinthia's tail lashed. "Prepare a strike team," she commanded. "And, human, you will accompany them." Ethan froze for a moment. This was the first time he had been ordered into a battlefield, not behind a console. But hesitation would be seen as weakness here. He nodded firmly. "Understood, Your Majesty." Within the hour, Ethan joined a team of elite alien soldiers. Their armor gleamed under the dim stormlight of the moon's surface, but they moved stiffly, clearly unused to working with a human in the group. Ethan noticed their sideways glances and silent whispers. He ignored them. Survival required focus, not grudges. The mission was simple: infiltrate the enemy outpost, disable their drone control systems, and return without casualties. Yet, as soon as they approached the ridge, a sudden barrage of energy blasts rained down. The enemy had anticipated their approach. "Take cover!" shouted Commander Virak, an experienced alien warrior. Ethan dove behind a jagged rock and assessed the situation. The enemy drones were fast, small, and highly agile. They swarmed like insects, circling the team and firing with deadly accuracy. Alien soldiers panicked under the unfamiliar tactics. Ethan pulled out his portable toolkit. "Cover me!" he shouted. "I can modify the armor to resist their weapons." The soldiers hesitated. They had been trained to fight, not to listen to humans. But desperation forced them to comply. Ethan worked quickly, rerouting energy flows in their armor, reinforcing shields, and optimizing the distribution of kinetic force. Sparks flew, and a low hum of energy filled the air as the armor adjusted to the new settings. The drones attacked again, and this time the alien soldiers felt the difference. Blasts that would have shredded their armor now bounced harmlessly off. They looked at Ethan with surprise and a flicker of respect. "Not bad for a human," Virak muttered under his breath. Ethan ignored the comment. "Move forward now! Stay tight!" They advanced, using the rocky terrain for cover. Ethan spotted a drone control tower ahead, guarded by larger drones with heavier weapons. The team would not survive a frontal assault. "Let me handle this," Ethan said. He scanned the control tower with his portable device, analyzing weak points in the drone control system. "We can overload their energy core. It will shut down all drones in the area, but we have less than 2 minutes before they detect us." The aliens exchanged nervous glances. The humans' plan was risky. One miscalculation, and they would be cut down. "Do it," Virak said finally. "We follow your lead." Ethan ran forward, dodging energy fire and leaping over jagged rocks. His hands moved like lightning, attaching energy modules to the tower's exposed circuits. Sparks flew, and the ground trembled as he rerouted power from one conduit to another. The larger drones approached, sensing the intrusion. "Almost done," Ethan muttered under his breath. An energy blast struck the ground nearby, throwing him off balance. Pain shot through his leg, but he refused to fall. With a final adjustment, he pressed the activation button. The tower erupted in a blinding flash of light. The drones in the surrounding area lost power and fell to the ground, motionless. The alien soldiers stared in awe. Ethan, bleeding and exhausted, gave a small nod. "All clear," he said. Virak clapped him on the shoulder, a rare gesture of approval. "You saved us. That was impressive, human." Ethan simply shook his head. "Just doing my job." They retreated to the extraction point, carrying wounded soldiers and avoiding remaining enemy forces. Ethan's modifications to the armor had saved lives again, reinforcing his reputation among the aliens. Back on the Eternal Dominion, Zorinthia watched the operation unfold from the command deck. Her eyes, usually cold and unyielding, softened slightly. The human had not only survived the mission, but had actively changed the outcome in their favor. He had thought quickly, acted decisively, and proven the value of human ingenuity under fire. She stepped forward and spoke aloud, though no one was near. "Perhaps humans are more than fragile tools, after all." A young officer cleared his throat nervously. "Your Majesty, should we acknowledge his contribution formally?" The Queen's eyes glinted. "Not yet. Let us see if he survives the next challenge. Only then will respect be earned fully." But even as she spoke, she could not hide the flicker of admiration. Humans were different. They lacked the natural strength of her species, but they had something more dangerous: creativity, adaptability, and an instinct to survive that was almost admirable. Ethan returned to the ship's medical bay to treat his injuries. His leg was bandaged, and minor burns on his arms were patched up, but he was eager to continue work. There was no time to rest. The fleet needed him. Alien soldiers whispered as he passed, some nodding in respect, others still unsure how to react to a human saving them in battle. One soldier, a young recruit named Keleth, approached hesitantly. "Human, your armor upgrades, they saved my life. How did you know what to do so quickly?" Ethan smiled faintly. "I learned by observing, and I trust my instincts. Sometimes you have to think differently to survive." Keleth nodded, inspired. "I hope one day I can be as quick as you." Ethan patted the alien on the shoulder. "You will. Just remember, courage is as important as strength." Later, Zorinthia summoned Ethan to the observation deck. The Queen's posture was rigid, but her gaze was less sharp than usual. "Human," she said, "today you have proven skill and courage beyond what I expected. But this is only the beginning. The enemy will not wait. There will be greater tests." "I understand, Your Majesty," Ethan replied, "and I am ready." The Queen studied him for a long moment. "Very well. You will remain close to my command for the next operation. I will see how far your ingenuity can take you, and whether humans truly deserve the trust I am beginning to consider giving them." Ethan nodded, hiding the pride he felt behind a professional demeanor. Being trusted by an alien queen was not something he had ever imagined when he left Earth. But in this galaxy of advanced civilizations, humans had a chance to prove their worth, and he intended to make every moment count. As he left the observation deck, Ethan glanced out at the stars. The fleet was small, but the stakes were immense. Countless lives depended on innovation, courage, and quick thinking. And for the first time, he realized that humans could stand among the mightiest species in the galaxy, not because of brute strength, but because of something far more dangerous: the human mind. And somewhere deep in the Queen's thoughts, the idea grew. Perhaps humans were not just allies. They could be equals. But that was for the next mission to prove.